Howdy, folks. Welcome to Twitch Tuesday, Turning with Dave. I started this channel to become a better demonstrator and a better teacher, to help turners of all skill levels become better turners themselves. And throughout all of that, I get to work on one of my goals, which is to be the best turner that I can be. So today, it's been kind of a rainy, drizzly day, and it's that time of year where it's getting dark freaking early, man. So it's kind of throwing my time sense off a little bit. I'm not looking forward to 5:30 sundowns. Anyway, I was taking care of some stuff earlier today. Found out that it might be a good idea if I had a mortar and pestle. So that's two of the. I'm going to turn two, or at least I'm not totally sure that this timber is completely dry. I don't think that it is, so I'm going to rough turn them first. But let me show you what I've got here. I got a piece of maple, and it's really nice color to it. A log from my friend Joe, and I do have. Joe is also a VIP for the channel, so I wanted to throw this out there. If you'd like to become a VIP for the channel, please head over to my Ko-fi page. There will be a, pardon me while I clean this lens off, there will be a little moderator chat thing come up in chat with the link to it, although it's also on my bio here on the channel. So I gratefully appreciate the support of this channel. Thank you very much. Please, when you come onto this channel to watch broadcast, please also help support channel by giving the channel a follow and dropping a hi in chat. Say hello in chat. Let me know you're here. I certainly appreciate it. And of course, the more chats that I have, the more and the more followers, the algorithms, or however that works, means that it gets out to more people. So I really appreciate your help there. So what I had was a log of maple from my buddy Joe, and it had two little crotches on it. I thought that after taking care of some dried plants, I would need to crush them to make. What I want to do is make some tea, right? So I've got some dried mint, flowers, and some leaves, and I want to crush them up. So I needed a pestle, and I like working with crotchwood. I just would like to have a pretty personal pestle. I'm going to go ahead and rough out two, since I had two pieces, or two crotch areas on the same log. So what I did, I have this is how the log was together. I cut this off, cut that off, I made some cuts where I kind of hopefully had a pretty close to flat spot where I needed one for the centers. So I'm gonna set this guy up between centers. I don't know that I'm going to get and be able to put it on its balance point. We'll find out. I do know that I want the center of the bowl to be somewhere in here, and actually I should take some more bark off that, so I'm going to do that now. Grab my chisel and my fish whacker, and we'll just get rid of some more of this bark. So what I tend to do usually with my pieces of timber is I'll get a general, knock corners off, stuff like that, so I know that I can spin it on my lathe, knock it down to the size that it kind of needs to be. Let's get rid of this stuff too. but I don't do a whole lot more than that usually. Started off that way because I don't have like band saws and um, I just don't have a bandsaw to turn blanks, round blanks, or round billets, or whatever. And with the bowl gouge, it's just as easy to throw this chunk up here, get it to spinning, knock all the corners off that way, and it is most of the time a little less work than trying to get sawed off by hand or whatever. I don't have some of those tools, so, and I don't know that I ever will. I'm just not sure about that. I may need to cut this off, we'll find out. But I'm going to try, at least, to get some kind of a balance point set up so that I can limit the vibration. I know I'm going to have vibration, well, hopefully not, we'll see, but because of the way this lump of timber is shaped, I may get some vibration until I get it down to close to its roughed out form. So I want it to be somewhere in the middle there. I can't, well, let's see, I can raise that up a bit. That's not going to clear, but I don't need to take off much there, so I'll do that now. Let's see, let's just use the small saw here. It could be I just start off with the bouncy lathe and get all the high points cut off, and then I can then I can move things around and change centers and whatever. Usually I just don't do that. I usually get it on a balance point to start with. Let's see if I can get it to, okay, it wants to go down that way, and that is as high as I can get on this side. It's not too bad. I don't know. Oh, that's better. All right, let's do that. Tailstock out of the way here. So let's see, looking down on top of this guy. Let me see. Center of the pith is there and there. Well, I'm on that line because I've got a center of the pith here and a center of pith here. You can't see my other finger, but that's the center of the pith for that main part of the log, and this is the branch that came out of it. So following that line straight up, I'm right in the center here. So I'm only going to try to move the headstock side a little bit just to get it. I didn't move it that much and it flopped 180 degrees. You know, that's pretty close, so I'm going with that. That is really close. Wasn't sure I'd get that close. Okay, everything's going to clear. Get this secure on the lathe. TC Schmo says, "We are here." Wiley Smiley Kylie says, "Howdy." And Raging Striker Gaming says, "Ta-da." Yeah, I guess the apple doesn't fall that far, does it? Okay, so I'm also using tailstock, the tool rest from the other jet lathe that I have that I don't have a motor for because I got the excuse me my own saliva. Yay! I ordered a handle. It showed up on Friday. It's the wrong handle. Something they've done to me a couple times in the past. So supposedly, and of course, the handles are out of stock. I got the last one from the last batch. I think it's kind of interesting that the technicians I talk to don't talk much about like how many handles they actually go through. Because at least for me, because of the design of the gripper on the tool post on the banjo, it's a high wear item. This has just got the bolt that goes right into the side of the tool rest, and it's a much simpler deal. I'm just trying to get a little bit closer here. I forgot I need to check my tool height. I'm way too high. The only difference with this, the height of this banjo and the other, is that my handle that locks it down onto the waist is a little bit higher up to the tool post. So my tool posts have to be shorter, which leads me to another question there, TC Schmo. I don't know. Do you have a bandsaw? Because I need to cut this a little bit shorter so it works in this banjo. It'll still work in my other banjo, but I do need to cut that off. And the only reason I'm asking is because I don't want to spend whatever that's going to be with a hacksaw. Anyway, back to turning. Want to see a magic trick? Want to see it again? Hey, man. Okay, so everything's going to clear. Hope you all having an enjoyable day. It's been, like I say, it's been kind of drizzly. Now it's dark outside. Still blowing my mind how early it's getting dark. It's going to get dark earlier even yet. As the season goes through, at least till spring, and then it'll start getting longer days again. All right, let's knock off all the high points. Well, let's see. Hold on a second. Let me, before I get froggy here, everything off the lathe that I don't need right here, just in case it's going to wander off the lathe. Yeah, not bad for that. That was really close to the balance point, actually. So I'm using this center tool rest because I get a smoother action across the top. I could use the longer tool rest, but the green one I just showed everybody, the tool post for this banjo, it's too tall for this banjo. Let's see, that's going to clear all the way over to there. Okay. Keep moving over and moving over. That's fairly close. Ooh, not gonna clear there though, are we? Still not gonna. Okay. Oop, I got stuck on that bit. Okay, where's that getting stuck? Oh, gotcha. Well, then I guess we'll have to take that down a little bit more. Now I can move over, make sure I clear there, and all the way down to the bottom. Cool. Alrighty, let's see. I need to be able to get to that guy, but not for a while. I'm going to double check my robust collet because it keeps coming. I mean, there's a lot of air cutting and all that, but it's coming undone on me. Yep, there's a little bit of sawdust down in there. Get that out of the threads. Gets compacted in there, actually. Alright, nothing really happening there, so put things back together. So I'll have to take this down in stages because this is a lot of air cutting. I want to get it round. I'm not getting a lot of bumpity bump chunk to chunk because I'm only approaching and going forward as fast as the tool can cut. I already know where, and this is something that you pick up from practice. I already know where my tool needs to be on the tool rest most of the time. Ooh, no, we need to come back a little bit for that guy. But But I think that's one of the biggest keys, especially if you're doing lumps of timber like this, is if you're only cutting or moving your tool forward as fast as it can actually cut through the material. And as you're cutting through, you can get a feel for how sharp or dull the tool is at any given time by how it's cutting. We are slowly getting there. I got lucky though, man, because I got really close to the balance point right off the bat. And I really didn't think I was sure I was going to have more vibration than this. So, nice happy accident, right? Just like Bob Ross, happy accident. Well, I can see or feel, and the tool is getting dull. Actually, it's already dull. So, time to swap out the steel. Already even. Okay. You know what? I think I'm gonna swap to the longer tool rest. This is kind of silly, moving this thing back and forth as many times as I have. And I have this guy. So I need to be right about in there. Double check that. Still high. All right. I think this is a better situation. Oh boy, that still looks really high to me. All right, let's take a couple cuts. See what we got. I do think I'm a little high. I don't know. Maybe it's just me today. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, it was my approach. Down. All right. Slowly getting there. just as a reminder, and I think if I swap this around a little bit, that was the wrong key, Dave. There we go. You can kind of get, I'll just remind everybody, especially, well, the people have been around, well, this will be a reminder, and the new folks that are coming around, this will not be. So as I'm cutting, I can't see what's happening right here at the tool. So I'm paying attention to this cut line as it comes out over here, because the light coming down, I can see where my cut's happening in the shadow, the ghost, and the direction it's going and all that I can't see right down here by the tool rest. So I can follow that down all the way. So yeah, you can see some ghosting on on your screens there. You know, it seems to me, and maybe I'm just misremembering, but this new motor sure doesn't seem like it has the same amount of torque as the old one. But everything on the faceplate was the same, so I mean, it is a 1-horse motor. I'm not trying to get, well, I mean, I'd always like to get more than out of it than you know, as much as I can get out of it, but I know it's a 1-horse motor. There's not a ton of torque, but it does seem like, at least with this piece, that I'm stopping the lathe a lot more often. So I've gone to taking smaller cuts. It could just be all these corners I'm catching from cutting all this air. It also has to do with the fact that this tool is now dull. Although it's not throwing sawdust yet. Come on. I do have audio. Okay, I want to see my PC Smo says mine. I don't know. If that was intentional or not. Okay, so we're getting much closer. Ooh, dang, that's hot. But it's because it's spinning in the wood when I stop the wood, which is why I like this drive center. It's not tearing wood out, it's just spinning in place. It's still got a good hold on the timber. Oh, that feels sharp, so it must be all the edges that I'm catching. felt that collet just twisted just a little bit underneath my thumb. I do find that though when I'm cutting a lot of air, the collet will vibrate open. It'll loosen up. The collet tightens the other direction that the tool is being pulled, so the tool kind of goes one way and helps the whole process of loosening that collet. Can't believe it. Stopping this piece of timber as much as I am. Oh, easy there, cowboy. Almost round, yay. Oh, you know what I just realized? It could also be because I am turning at 400 RPM. I am turning at 400 RPM. Okay, so I didn't know that was there. That's a nice crack. Hopefully it goes away. This is basically going to be the rim of the bowl, is this area here. So hopefully that goes away. I should say the pestle, the bowl part of it. The pestle is the bowl part of it. Sorry, I will get these terms correct one of these days. Speed the lathe up a little bit. Oh yeah. I mean, I was doing all right at 400. There's just stopping the wood a lot, and I'm trying to figure out why. Okay, yeah, there's going to be some really nice figure in the side of this pestle. That's what I was hoping for. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. Still cutting a lot of air between those where the branches came out away from each other. And I do see I'm still a little high here. Okay. Okie dokie doke. Let's see. I'm also going to take, it's feeling a little cool. I'm not sure if this is dry all the way, but like I said, we'll just keep working with it and we'll find out. This may be a twice turned pestle. That's all timber. So that's where I can set a tenon for a chuck if I feel the need. You know what? Let's get it ready for that now. Just because we're there. Yeah, it's still a little green. So this will be a twice turned pestle. Twice turned pestle. Excuse me. Lots of frogs in the rainy weather, apparently. Oh, wait a minute. What am I doing? Let's do this first. Oh, yeah, we gotta loosen that guy. So what I'm gonna do is flip this around so I can clean off more of this little leftover tenon nonsense. Whew. No hold there. There we go. That way it's not interfering with the chuck. You know, stuff in the middle here, that was a big blob and getting, although I don't think there would be that much of an issue, just want to get rid of that mass. So it's not an issue. That might be a little bit. A little bit too big of a tenon for this chuck, or these jaws anyway. All right, now we're getting somewhere. I feel like since I got things between centers that I'm going to rough out the other one too. So we'll set this one aside and we'll bring this guy up. See what we can do with him. Or her, as the case may be. You need to come a lot closer. Closer, thank you. So that would be somewhere in the neighborhood of there. This one I'm kind of expecting to give me a lot more vibration. Definitely heavy in the bottom. How about still heavy in the bottom? Ooh, this is going to be, all right, so this one's going to dance around a little bit. Although, if I can get rid of this branch, that might help things a tiny bit. So, I'm going to grab my crosscut saw over here and saw this off really quick. Let's see, something like that. if I can get it to sit still. Yeah, no. Probably should have done this part with a chainsaw, but I didn't think, honestly, looking at it, that it would be a big deal between centers, but it is a little bit of a deal. There was a day when electrical tools were the exception. Okay, let's see how much that actually helped me. Let's see, I want it. I do kind of want it right in there. Got a little bit of a void down in there. Yeah, of course. Come on now. All right, this one's going to be really off balance for a little bit. Let's see, how about if let's take a look at this guy. Let's see if I do this instead. Give me about, where's the, ooh, that's going to be a very small one. So, I'm going to shift a little bit this way. Let's see, where is the closest point? That looks like that might be it. What am I hitting? So that clears. All right, cool. So the closest point looks like it'll be right there. So that'll give me a 4 to 5 inch pestle. I think that'll work. Whoops, that's not the fish whacker, that's over here. Okay, time for Dave and his dancing lathe. Oh, that's not going to clear, really? That's about right, that's about right. Okay, everything clears. I'm going to slow it down some. It's not terrible, but I want to clean it up as quickly as I can. clear now? Yes, very good. So I can get to this bit now. Things are coming off the lathe. Okay, now I can move closer in. Keep taking care of that vibration issue. So by way of demonstration, there's a big difference between this and this. Anchor, bevel, cut. The ABCs are very, very important. And you don't want to just jam your tool in to your material. You want to have a controlled cut. Starting off with your anchor set, your bevel pointing in the direction of travel that you want it to go, and open to the right angle and all that. It makes a huge difference to any kind of transfer of force from the lathe into your body. I want all of the force to be in the tool rest, or at least as much as I can get away with. All of it go down through the tool into the tool rest, not through me. Oh, I guess I can speed this up now. And all of that comes with practice. Practice it every time you grab a tool. Your ABCs. Why beat yourself up and turn? Takes what I consider a relaxing endeavor. Turns it into a stressful one, and that's no fun. All right, so I've got a bar conclusion of about, what is that, 1 3/4 inches? Well, it's actually 2 inches. No, 1 7/8 inches. So maybe that'll go with the bowl. We'll see with the shape of the bowl. It's going to be a little bit squattier one. But I also don't want my, why are you loosening up? I don't want my pestle to have a thin foot or really tall pedestal or anything like that. those are kind of popular, I suppose, but I think when you're crushing and grinding stuff, you want to have as much stability as you can get so that you can apply the force where it's really needed more efficiently, less energy, all that. You want to have a steady base, sturdy base when I'm grinding up those, in fact, not on the dried mint flowers. And those I want to grind up, put it into, cloth tea bags and make tea bags out of that. I think it'll be a nice, really nice groovy thing. This might be a little. Do I move back? I'm only gonna get. Well, I guess I need to change my. Whoopsie daisy. Let's go back to where we were at because I just realized that I need to straighten my foot out before I do that. All that's going to clear. Let's see. It might still be a little wide. Chuck jaws. Take it down to there. Get it all set up for dovetail. And now I can cut. Oh, yeah, I forgot. We gotta loosen this up and get rid of this tenon. And I will have this flat foot I can use to move around on my drive center. Oh, no, can I spin it around? I can't spin it around. Never mind. Takes a little longer with a fine tooth saw. There we go. So, what do we got? Anything new in chat here? Let's see. My neighbor can cut your tool post. Oh, cool. Cool. Wiley Smiley Kylie says, just wondering, why did you rough one out, then start the second piece rather than continuous with piece number 1? I did that because I had my points right here. I've got to rough both of them out anyway. And since I had my centers already set to go, since the other one is roughed out, now I can rough this one out, then I can bring the chuck up and I don't have to keep changing between centers. That's the main reason. Trying to be a little more efficient. Okay, that was the wrong direction. I needed to bring this guy over here. So that might, maybe, give me the diameter that I'm looking for. I'm going to true things up again anyway, but this slopes down and I wanted, so let me, let's see, I'm going to move this guy over here. So I'm moving the side that doesn't slope down in the direction of the side that does slope down so that this will stick out more, which means I'll cut that first before I get to cutting this side, and then it'll bring this side in towards that side. So I've shifted the whole piece that way towards this feature that is sloping down because I want to capture as much of a straight side as I can get. And let's see. And that will put me like right in this area here, which will give me about a 5-inch pestle, but this will get trimmed away. Let's see, you know, we could straighten that up a tad more. Something like that. A little bit more centered this way. So that means that I'm going to have more. I was hoping to cut some of this away, but clearly that's not going to happen. So I don't know. I suspect that bar conclusion goes all the way through. If that's the case, I may wind up, once this is dry, I may wind up making, I don't know how, I might fill it with resin. I don't know. If I put it back, I will get like one really low, and I don't want that low. So if I say that is that edge there, right there, that puts me right up in here. It's not a bad size. Let's go with it and see what happens. Make a few cuts, but I can always go back. And always move my center again. So we're back off balance. And in this case, the air gap is going all the way around the piece because I'm just cutting that one side away. So this side got cut away to more closely match this dude. And I think, actually now I can, well, I'm going to take a couple more cuts, but I think that I can move it back a little bit once I get past that. That little hump there. I lost my spindle gouge to the shaving gouge, wood shaving gouge. Okay, now if I look at that being that edge on this side, so I can actually move it back now a little bit. So that's a good thing. So we will take it down to something like that. Because I'll still get a higher side out of this, which is what I'm trying to get. Let me move this guy to here. Nope, not there. How about right there? You know, I suppose I could always reverse this and make this the bottom. I could do that. So, let's see, let's take a look at this guy. This could wind up being just a decorative mortar and pestle, I don't know, but this is my new bottom. This is now the top. That way, I can cut all this away in a curve and leave this diameter. So I've got now, I have more, magically, more mass to work with. So I'm moving the whole tool with my hip. I'm not pushing with my hand, I'm just following along. All the larger muscle groups, I'm moving my whole body to get this tool into the positions I want it into. My thumb here is just following the tool. I'm putting no pressure on the tool whatsoever. It's just staying in contact with the tool as I push forward with my hip. Okay, I can get a foot on there now. No, I can't. I have to go get my spindle gouge. Hardy har har har. Where'd you go, dude? I thought there was an earthquake, so I jumped. Okay. So there's my hole for the chuck. And now I can start working on actually the bowl shape. Whoa. So here I am actually pushing it with my thumb. I'm taking very small cuts, just keeping enough pressure against the tool to keep the tool moving. It's only going as fast as it can cut anyway, but not a lot of stress. Here I'm pushing with my hip. These hands are just, my elbows are tucked in my sides, everything. I've got, 3-point contact. So nothing here is changing. None of this geometry is changing. The only thing that's changing is that I'm moving forward. My whole body. Alrighty, let's see. Getting to a nice shape, that's going to be a problem. I don't know how much of that I'll have to take away. It looks like about 1/2 inch. Alright, let's do it this way. Let's see, let's just do that. Drag that down some. I did kind of like that little, not quite calabash style, you know, the OG, I guess you call it. A little bit. Okay, so let's see. That got rid of almost all of that. I got a little bit more to go. Got it. Almost. That's a little too much. No, it's not. Okay. So I'm going to change. Well, I got to carve that away, right? All right, so I'm thinking out loud, but what I'm thinking is that I want there to be a spout on this guy, just to be able to pour, you know, whatever I've got out. I will have to do something about this if I'm going to keep it as a pestle. It could just be an ornamental pestle, I guess, but what's the point in that, right? Oh, it looks pretty. Okay. All right, so give it a little bit of a lip. I guess it doesn't matter on this one. Let's see if I can figure this out, though, because this is not the one that, you know, it's okay if this one doesn't survive. Although I will miss all this figure that's showing up. Okay, so if I move this to one side, that will give me, here, let's clean this off. Cut this guy loose. So this is like one of the few, not one of the few. This piece I actually have, you know, it's a design thing. I've got to design it. Yeah, that's going to be quite the. So I got to figure out what I'm going to fill this with. once we get it to shape. So let's remark that center just for giggles. How's the audio on this? Is it working out all right? Let's see. Rough one that starts in Wiley Smiley Collie. Thumbs up. Thank you. Likely harasser restricted. Likely harasser cosmetic workout. Cheap viewers on this channel. Wow. I guess that's, does that mean that people pay for viewers? Huh. That's an interesting question. Okay, let's mark this center again. I'm sure it's not going to be... Oh, well, I may actually just be to the side of that, which would be lovely. Yeah, just to the side of it. All right. So I'm thinking if I shift this to one side, the whole thing. If I shift this whole thing to one side, not this side, then I will have a slightly wider side on one part that I can carve out. So that's what I'm going to do. So I need to come this way a little bit. Since I know that's the center and I know that that is the center, I will come over, say, 1/8 of an inch. Same thing here. Not quite straight. There we go. So in theory, if I have this set right, this will get carved away a little bit more than this will. And then when I put it back into center and turn the bowl, this side will be a little bit thicker so that I can carve it into a little bit of a pour spout. And that's my theory. Pretty sure I'm thinking about that right. Correctly, I guess is the term, not right. Correctly. I'm not quite straight anymore. But that is okay. Let's see where exactly this winds up. So that is the furthest point, which then gives me 1/4 inch over here. So if I cut this away, then put it back between centers, this will be a thicker side. Okay. So I got to match that ghost. Trying to take about half of it away. See how it looks. I'm looking right down where I'm cutting because I can see the ghost right there. The light bouncing down here. So I've taken off about half of that whole thickness. So how would that look back between its original center? But you, come on, get in there. Nope, not that one. Now let's see if that is actually what happened. So this is, how did I not get straight? Oh, that broke, bummer. So I broke a little bit of the bridge away at the bottom. Let's see if I can get it. Well, I'll just have to chew everything up again. No, I don't want to have to do that, because that means I've got to take more off the outside diameter than I want. Okay, that's pretty true. That'll work. So that should mean that this part sticks out further. Yes. And it's about 1/8 of an inch, and I really think that's all I need. So I'm going to turn this bowl, and I'm going to leave that little spout there to allow me to pour things out after I've done my crushing. So now this should be really close. Okay, it is really close to true. So I've only got to take 1/8 of an inch off this side. I'm going to leave this alone. Do I have this in a good hold? Yes. Now, in theory, did it work out? Where's my line? There's my line. So this is the widest point. This is 180 degrees out, so it worked. Okay, cool. I'm going to refine the shape of this bowl. Just had a voice in my head said, Dave, remember this is green wood. I'm gonna have to dry some, so it's gonna be a twice turned piece. Okay, I'm going to it's just it's not almost gone, but there at least now I've exposed the bridge right here, so that should help keep things together. I still got to figure out how I'm going to fill this up. So it's going to be a shorter pestle, but that's okay. It's not going to be I mean, if I can make it a useful object, I'll do that. If it's just for looks, it's just for looks. Don't want to do that? No. I was just thinking about putting a bead in it. Not this dude though. If I'm gonna use resin. If I don't want to make the building of the mold more difficult. Just doing a shear scrape right along the spout. guess I got to do like a whole lot of surface prep, but I do want to do some. What am I saying? Yes, I do. I want to. Let's see. I've got to clean that up. The rest will have to be done with sanding. I do want. I'm not going to worry about sanding the outside because I may have to take some material off. I sure hope not. This may be a really interesting piece because I have changed centers a couple times, and I've got that spout on it now. We'll see how it dries. All right, so this guy is ready to be hollowed. So since I have my center set, this guy is ready to go. I'm going to grab the other guy. Although I could start this guy in the chuck, I did forget. I have that already. All right, let's do that. Okay, please feel free to throw in any comments in chat, any questions you have. I do pay attention to it. I appreciate you joining me this evening. Every chat, every follow for the channel helps the channel grow, and I appreciate both from you. Thank you very much. Okay, let's bring this check up now. How are we doing on time? 9:30. Well, we might get them both turned, and I was hoping to do a little bit more, but that will be tomorrow then. Everything has. Oh, the key didn't know. The key is one of the few things that did not vibrate off the lathe. Oh, good. I kept the other two chucks too. That's nice. So I'll have more stuff to dig through the shavings to get. So this figure, all throughout this piece, this is the main pestle. It's going to have figure up in there, a little bit in here, or rather here, and then a whole bunch right there. That's cool. I hope I run into a situation where I make myself a pestle and somebody goes, oh, I love that. How much is it? Then I'll sell it and make another one. Okay, so I want to get down to somewhere in this area. I am thinking, and what am I thinking? I may do the same thing here and put a spout on this too. But let's get this taken care of. Oops. Yeah, tailstock isn't going to grab hold or anything if it's not locked down to the waist, just FYI. Okay. Turning at, oh, well, all right, about 1,200. of those air gaps. Let's see, let's take this guy off. Probably a moot point, but I'm going to see what I got to deal with here. Okay, if I take a look at this, if I take, well, let's see, if I just swap, if I move the centers over, then that will expose more of this side, and it would be okay if that natural edge was on the very edge of the bowl. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to go back between centers once I get rid of this guy. And then, don't be putting that down by my feet where I step on it. Let's see, let me true up that face. Find the center again, and then I can move things together. That works for me. There we go. That would be the center. Audio still working all right. All right, very good. Poke the hole in the center. There we go. All right, so I want to find, I'm going to use all kinds of tricks today, man. So I want this, we'll call that basically the center of this natural edged hollow there. And I'm going to set, not there. Can I see it? I can't even see it now. So I keep it straight right there. So 180 degrees out. Should be in that neighborhood right there. Nope, I was wrong. All right, so I'll count it then. Doggone it. Okay, was that my... Oh, I need to go down one. How about that guy? That's too far. There. So I'll count my 6 slots because I've got 12 divots on this particular lathe. 3, 4, 5, 6. That will be halfway around in theory. And that should be it looks right. Oh, I keep bumping my microphone here. Sorry, folks. Now I can draw a line, which will help me get things centered up properly. I'm going to cut that divot off. Or that tenon. Need to move this guy for a little bit. Got a wood shaving in my mouth. Oh yeah, I was going to cut that off. And looks like I'll have to find this center again. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Come on, pencil. And since I usually get a square instead of all the lines crossing right at directly the center point, there we go. Bring out my center punch, and all works just as well. A nail, whatever you got. So now I'm really going to make that before I draw this line that I'm going to draw. Just want to make that hole quite prominent. Ruler and a scribble stick. So, turn this over. This is the one that I want to play with. I should, going right through the center, meet up with that line over there. Yes. So now I got this line. Hey, why not? Let's do that. So, going through the center again. There should line up with there. Now, I'm going to call that a ½ inch. I can leave a little bit because it's okay with me if some of that natural edge stays. So I'm going to say actually it's more like 3/8 of an inch. So I know that moving from my center one direction a certain distance will double the distance in the diameter what gets cut away. So in other words, if I move 1/8 of an inch in one direction, then I'm going to wind up cutting away 1/4 of an inch on this side to make this side match this as it comes around. Here right now it's already round, but we're going to move it. So that would be 3/16 of an inch to get 3/8. And we're just going to eyeball it. I need to come this way so that this side sticks out more. And I think, you know what, we better should measure then. That is 1/4 of an inch. That would give me a half. So I'm going to go a little bit less than that. Let's go with 16ths here. Be much easier probably if we were all on the metric system, I bet. But I don't know. So that's my 3/16. Do the same on this side. Except now it has to go this way. I'm glad we got the cameras in the right spot, because you otherwise would be looking probably at the top or side of my head right now. All right, so let's double check that distance. That is 3/16. Let's double check this distance. That is 3/16. So that should give me 3/8 difference. So I should come in probably about 2/3 of the way in. I'll still have that little bit of natural edge there. And that means that this side will stick out more, so I'll have a little bit of an area to carve a spout, another spout. Got a little bit off somehow. But only a little bit. All right. Make sure I'm secure. Find my safety gear. First time chat, Sparky the Pyro. Hey, welcome, Sparky. Hello. I saw wood turning, so had to pop in to watch. What is being worked on? I am working on 2 pestles for 2 sets of mortar and pestles. I found that I had some dried mint that I took care of today, stripped the leaves and the flowers off. I want to have a mortar and pestle to be able to grind those up and put them in my own tea bags. So I have some nice, I could always do it loose leaf too and all that, but I just want to be able to grind them down. So I'm making myself a mortar and pestle. Since I had 2 pieces of crotchwood on the same log, these are from the same log, I decided, because that's how I wanted my pestle to be, out of a piece of crotchwood, have all that figure on it. I'd go ahead and make 2. And I was hoping that they would both wind up to be, good solid. But this has got some bark inclusion in it where the branches were grown together. Couldn't see it from the outside because the outer bark covered all that. So at least turn the outer shape. I'm going to, and these are also going to be twice turned objects because this wood is still kind of green. So I want to give it time to dry and change shape. So I'm going to leave it thicker than I normally would. Now, a mortar and pestle is kind of thick. I'm going to leave this even a little bit thicker than that yet. At least in my mind, that's what I'm saying. So that as the drying process continues and it changes its shape or whatever, I don't have very much mass to remove, to make, to true up everything and then make the bowl again. If this was seasoned wood, I wouldn't worry about that. But right now I'm trying to set myself up to have a pour spout on this side of the pestle bowl. At the same time removing some of this natural edge, and I'm going to leave some of it on the outer part of the rim of the bowl, just because I think that looks cool. So I'm going to shave this down a little bit to match this other side. Then I will put it back between centers. Actually, I'll probably just put it in the chuck. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll leave it between centers for a little bit because I can get further in without having the chuck in the way. But I'll do the outside shape and then I'll hollow, and then I'll bring this one back up and hollow that. and then I can set them aside and let them dry. So that's what we're working on today. Crotchwood always looks nice, says Sparky. Yes, yes, it does. It's one of my favorite parts of the tree to turn. I got all kinds of figure in here on this side of the piece. Got a bunch that's going to show up in here. You can see there's a little bit of tear out, but I've really just been going pretty fast. But that is all going to be figure. There's a little bit of figure in here, so it covers, a good portion of it. I was hoping that it would go all the way around, and it may still. I don't know. But anyway, I just thought it would look really cool, so that's what's happening. So, Sparky, are you a woodturner? What about woodturning interests you? Thank you for stopping by. Ooh, might actually lose some of that. Did not see this crack in it. I would call that a check, but it's not on a. It's not on a ring. It's just in the side, so I'm going to call that a stress crack. As you see, I'm shaving this down a little bit. I'm leaving this side alone because I've shifted everything over 3/16 of an inch to give me 3/8 of an inch more thickness on this side so that I can carve it. I do turn. I do a lot of pens and bowls, Sparky says. Very, very cool, man. Very, very cool. I tend to do whatever the heck I want, I guess. I do a lot of boxes, a lot of sculpture pieces. And this channel, since you just stopped in, I know I'll repeat this later, but hi, I'm Dave. I'm a wood turner, and I started this channel to become a better demonstrator and a better teacher. That's something I'm starting on this particular leg of my turning journey. But I want to help turners of all skill levels become better turners, and at the same time, I'm becoming a better turner myself, because the more that I explain these things, the more it cements it in my own head. So even if I repeat it 100 times, that's all right with me. Number one, I'm talking about wood turning, and I like that. And number two, it helps cement everything in my head. So I get better, everybody around me gets better, and I get to teach and instruct and demonstrate, and that's pretty darn groovy to me. So I'm just doing some full cuts across the surface, kind of hogging one off on one way and then cleaning it up in the other direction. I'm just shifting my entire body on my ankles and my hips. Once I have my tool set, I'm just going to follow it across. My knees and my ankles are bending, my hips are swiveling side to side. I don't have to use my arms and using the major muscles of my body to turn, which means that I will be able to do this for a lot longer period of time in one day or one sitting, but and not get beat up. But also, I'll be able to do this a lot longer in my life because I'm not beating the crap out of myself trying to turn something that looks cool. Tool control is a big deal, huge deal, and the secret sauce. The secret sauce is practice. That's the only secret sauce there is. So I'm about 16th, an eighth of an inch. Okay. I think, let's see, an eighth of an inch out, which means a six. So I am a quarter inch thicker on one side right now, since I have to double that. Is quarter inch going to be enough? Yeah, I think quarter inch will probably be okay. another pass. Just really light cut, clean up my tool marks. Full cut, full cut. Only moving as fast as the tool can cut, getting these lovely shavings. So yeah, there's going to be all kinds of figure right there. So I got to go back now to my original center, which is right here and right here. And I'm going to make, well, actually I could put it in, no, that's right. I talked myself through that already. I'm not going to put it in the chuck yet. I want a little more access to this real estate. Yeah, well, I guess I could flip the dude too, for that matter. Why don't we do that? I'll have all kinds of access to this side if I flip it around. Duh. Okay, this is the original center here. Something happened. What did I get? I'm off somewhere. Okay, let's take a look at this guy again. That's my original center. So it goes there. And nope, that is too far over. That was not the original center. That's what the problem was. So this is a way you can kind of cheat in your favor, so to speak. So I've got right now 1/4 of an inch between this side and that side. And that's the side I wanted to carve. So I need that mass there. I'm going to leave a little bit up here for a spout that I can pour out whatever I've crushed. So I have met my goal. Now I need to true up the actual bowl itself. I'm going to leave somewhere in the neighborhood of about that much, I think, just to have a little pour spout. I don't need to have a really tight, like I've seen some pestles that have, really like a pitcher pour thing out of it. I don't want anything like that. It's going to be a little wider. I'm working with dried materials all the time, or will be anyway, at least in these particular mortars, pestles, sorry. So let's work on our bullshit. I don't have enough grip on my dry center. There we go. So ABCs, I'm not pushing with either hand. I've locked my elbows in. I'm pushing with my whole body. A lot of control there, using the major muscles, not the smaller ones. Lost video. Why did I lose video? Oh, it's back. That was weird. Huh. That was very strange. I looked over at the computer and there was nothing on the monitor. Hello. There we go. That's a little bit better view. So Sparky the Pyro says, I got to go back a little bit on the chat here. If it's green, you can wait for the dry, then either epoxy or stabilize it to negate the crack. Yes, that's what I was thinking. I'm just not sure how I want to fill that. This may wind up just being a display piece just because of all that, which is okay. Or if I don't know, I may fill it with brass, and it'll be still a usable pestle. I'll figure it out. Once the drying process is done, I'm going to wait for all that because it may not survive the drying process. But if it does, then I'll make a mold for it, or I'll figure out what I'm going to do to fill all that. But I am going to keep it. So getting lots of tear out right there. I'm going against the grain. There's going to be a lot of figure right in there. I think this is a little tall. Sparky, what kind of lathe you got, man? This is a Jet 1440. I have a Jet 1442 also. It is out of commission because I need a motor for it. And I've got a Rikon 12, what is that, 28, I think? The Rikon is a nice little portable lathe that I like taking around when I'm doing demos and stuff like that. Speaking of which, I will be at Twisted Fish in Elk Rapids on the 5th of October. That's a Saturday for Art Beat, turning all day. I'd love for y'all to come out and meet with me and chat. I'd like to meet you all face to face. That's where I will be. So right now I'm just moving forward with my body. I'm leaning forward. I'm not changing the dynamics or the geometry of where my arms are, where the tool's at. I've got my tool set, and I'm just shifting forward. Sparky goes on to say, that is good thinking on the teaching front. The way I've always told people is you can't really understand something truly until you can explain it to a 5-year-old, right? Right, so they understand. Teaching people helps you learn it better yourself, since it gives you the ability to look at it and understand from other perspectives and multiple times. I have a Nova 14. Very, very cool. Serves me well. I've been away from it for a bit due to having moved 5 states away. Wow. But I'm turning about 10 years in total with a break in between 6 and 4-year marks. Okay. I have been turning since 2015. So I guess that's 9 years, 11, 9 years. 9 years. I have friends that laugh at me because, like, every time you date, it's a different year. But I got started in 2015 on a cheap Harbor Freight lathe that I had to add support to and all that because it was really, really kind of hinky. The spindle motor was 3/8 horse. I really had to beef up that lathe to turn much. It was very, very small. Well, not a very small lathe, but 3/8 horse motor, and it still had Morse 2 taper and all that. I turned on that for 2 years. Broke 2 tool rests, 1 banjo, a couple of skews, and I think I bent the hell out of 1 scraper. But I was following along with YouTube. I did not know that we had a woodturning club here in town. And I found them accidentally because I was in the library one day. And that was one of the years that the woodturning club, now, I know there's been some pauses, I guess, some of it due to COVID, some of it for other issues. But every year, generally, our woodturning club, all the guys from the club, go in to the library. For the month of October, we have a very large display. All kinds of turned objects, all skill levels. And it's a really, really groovy thing that the library does for us to not only help us get the word out, but to show the community, the things that are going on. And that's how I found the Wood Turning Club. Was I stumbled into uh, the display, seeing the display at the library, and I went, "Oh my God!" But the point of that is that I was following YouTube when I started, and in my opinion, and this is probably the fact, is that what's done on YouTube is really done a lot more for views than having safety in mind and all that. So I got into quite a few issues turning early on, and I almost gave up. And the saving grace was I found that there was a turning club here. I had some trepidation about talking to anybody, of course, a new turner, and I started actually turning as therapy for PTSD. I'm a disabled vet. Turning has been a wonderful therapy for me. So I talk about that a lot. I try to definitely bring it up with other veterans that I work with or talk to or meet or whatever, because it works for me, and I know it can work. There's other veterans in our turning club that say the same things. It's one of the most relaxing things that they do when they get a chance to get out there. It's just very, very meditative, and it is. I have to agree. Right now I'm kind of forming the spout. Take a little bit of a pause from my explanation here. But anyway, after getting hooked up with Lyle Jameson, who was then the president of the club, as my first mentor, I actually worked in his shop for quite a few years, shipping his tools and equipment around. Did do one show in New Hampshire with him to sell, just to get my feet wet on what his, his travel um, normally works like when he's going from show to show, and his um, traveling schedule, at least at the time for me, was too much. It was too much for me. Too much driving, too much hurry, rush to get there. There was stuff at the time that I could not deal with physically. So I wound up having to take a pass on that. I did get to work, as I said, in his shop for a couple of years and work with him one on one quite a few times. But I've also had a lot of other turners that I've worked with. Rudy Lopez. I want to say it's Gil Gerard, but it's not. It's Dick Gerard. I cannot remember where I'm getting the Gil Gerard from, but Dick Gerard. Anyway, I like to tell people that you want to get some really good quality instruction. Uh, Turning on a lathe is already inherently dangerous. That's going to be too big of a foot. Well, I'm only twice turning this piece anyway, so we'll leave it there. It's already inherently dangerous. I got a piece of timber spinning around at 60 miles an hour. I'll just choose that number. I don't know that that's the right number, but I'll choose that number. We're turning at just shy of 1,200 RPM. I really don't need to go that fast. There we go. So, at any time, if I'm not careful, not paying attention, this piece can come off a lathe and smack something, hopefully not me. But over the years, I like simple. I like to be able to explain things in a concise manner. I really enjoy watching the light come on for people when they get a concept or they get a tool skill down. I think that's fantastic. That's kind of what one of the things that helps keep me going as an instructor, to be honest, is just that. I have those modes myself. I've had them here live on this channel, in fact, trying something out and going, "Oh my God, that worked! I can't believe that worked! Oh yeah, yeah, yeah!" And then incorporating it into my own turning toolkit, if you will. So this is my spout. 180 degrees should be right there. Yes. And now I've got my rim. I'm going to, do I need to true that up? I don't think, yeah, I do. I'm going to true it up a little bit. But every tool handles a little bit differently. I was steered away from scrapers. I was steered away from things like that. Uh, um, Gouges were the way to go, and so that's how I started out. But I began to realize, well, there were some tools I myself I wanted to learn how to use. But I began to realize that, hey, if I'm going to teach this stuff, I kind of need to know how these tools work, what they're good for, what they're not good for, because that is the information that needs to be passed on. So I've been working and teaching myself a lot of tool skills actually. Some that I have found by accident, like running continuous beads on pretty much any surface. I can bead any surface in one direction. I picked that up before I actually saw somebody else do it. There's very few people actually doing it, um, but it's a great way to run beads across a surface on any surface of an object, and I can use less tools when I'm doing turning. I try to keep the amount of tools that I'm using to a minimum, so I don't have to keep swapping tools around. And in order to do that, really got to practice tool handling skills. And then in practicing those skills, I found out some other things about these tools, and so that's what. Those are kind of things I like to pass on. I want to make it an easier journey for other people, shorten their journey. Maybe get rid of some of the hiccups along the way. Because for me, turning is a meditative and fun experience. I do it a lot, but it is my therapy also. And I want people to be able to enjoy the experience as much as they can, even if they're just like hobby turners and they go out, on a weekend or every other weekend or whatever it is. I don't care what tools you use. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not a tool specific, like you should only use these kind of tools and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is what your results are and what you're trying to accomplish and how can I help you get there. Every tool has its pros and cons. So that's that guy, and that's that guy. I'm going to start on this guy. Nah. I like this one. No, that's a nice shape. We're only doing twice turns, so I guess it doesn't really matter where I start. So I'll start with this one. So I learn. I take the chance to learn anything I can about production turning. That's helped me. I'm not a full-time production turner, but it's helped me in my other endeavors with turning, learning to be more efficient, learning to plan things out. I do prefer to turn, I have to say, where I just throw a lump of timber up there, ask the timber, "What are you today?" and go for it. But I do plan things out. In particular, this one, I planned this particular project out. Some of it on the fly, but not a lot. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this tool rest and go to my smaller one that is slippery. And make the bowl in this, guys. Excuse me. And I might, that's too high, I might run a scraper in there. I don't know. Probably not. This is just a rough turning. So basically what I'm making is a blank. I'm making a blank that later I'm going to true up and turn into an actual piece. In theory. I don't know if this is going to make it, but in theory this one will. So this is a push cut, even though my hand is on the other side of the tool, but the cutting edge is in front of the handle. And it's moving in front of the handle. This looks a little different because I'm doing it from the other direction. No different than turning from the other side of the lathe, which I also do when I need to. But I've also picked up the tool skills that will let me do everything from one side. But that's the main reason why I don't put my lathe up against a wall, because sometimes I've got to be on this other side turning, because it's easier than trying to pull things through just to do all the pushing. Oh gosh, man, you got to see all. Oh, you can. Let me see if I can get it turned down. There's so much figure down here. I think you can see that. Anyway, when I get this hollowed out, well, we'll take that out. I should probably sand that. I shall. Let's see. How do I want to do this? Let's. Bore a hole in the center. Not that deep, probably will do. Tool rest is too low. Let's try that again. There we go. That should be all right. So I want to keep the wall thicknesses even, so that as this dries, in theory, it will dry more evenly. Not quite deep enough yet, but I think that's a good thickness to start with. I can, once it changes shape, I won't have much to remove. I don't think so. We'll see how much, because it is crotch wood. It's gonna, yeah, I do notice that most of the pieces I turn at a crotch wood tend to go a little square. This one probably won't. It will more likely, this is my guess now. So I'm looking for where there isn't a whole lot of figure. So there's figure from here all the way around to about here. All right, so all of this will probably move more than this little area here, because it's got so much interlocking grain going different directions. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on that too. I'm leaving it a little thick because, again, I want it to dry, then I'll turn it down to its finished size. but I'm trying to be mindful of where that's going to happen. Let's see. And since this is twice turning, I don't have to be super accurate. I can hog things off a little more than I normally would. Is that a thing? I don't know if that's a thing. I think I just kind of go with what's happening and work from there. I think that's pretty much really how things started for me as far as how I prefer to turn, because it is a meditation, and so I'm just going with what works, the flow, and listening to the wood. I used to have music playing and all that stuff in the shop, in the studio while I was working, but I don't do that anymore because I can't hear the wood. I can't hear the music the wood is singing to me if I'm listening to something else. So for me, it's become more of a meditative prospect, endeavor, all those wonderful English terms and words that mean that concept. I just like to throw things on and go and turn. But I also do enjoy, because there are several pieces that I have, like nesting boxes and stuff that, I got to plan out. So a little negative rake scraper there in the bottom. Just trying to get a little bit deeper. My thickness is even. And my bowl shape set. I'll go, that's probably not the right turn to use, have it set. It's just, I'm leaving it, there we go. I'm leaving it thicker to dry. I can feel the steam coming out of there. Get rid of the nub that's in the bottom. Almost. Which, funnily enough, is a lot easier when the wood is green than when it's seasoned. Okay. So that seems to be pretty even. I'm gonna clean up this wall a little bit. There we go. Back to the very bottom. Just really light scrape. And now I do believe I'm going to go ahead and, well, no, I could probably, I was thinking about using a sander, but I think we'll just go with shear cuts here. And then I can move on to the next bowl shape that I need to make for the pestle. Let's see, this guy that's good enough. It doesn't have to be right on center because I'm doing shear cuts. So this is a very, very safe cut to do. You can say I don't have a handle. My tool handle is what there is. The shaft is, I got it down low. I'm cutting way up here close to the point on the bottom part of the wing, and I have let me see. This will help me if I open this computer. Sparky Pyro says, I could tell you'd been doing it for a hot minute with how comfortable you were with heavy cuts, just diving into them casually. Yeah, that is, the result of lots and lots of practice, for sure. Um, I'm glad it looks like it's a casual thing, because again, it's what I want to be able to tell people, show people. In fact, it's like the more you practice, the better turner you're going to be. And the reason I can do these things isn't because I'm special or that I have, although I am a little special, um, or I have like the latest and greatest lathe or the most expensive tools or whatever. I don't. I got this lathe. When I bought this lathe, it was $1,800 when I bought this lathe. It's now going for twice that. But it was a decent mid-priced lathe with a decent size. Had I known better at the time, I might have gotten a larger lathe so I could do slightly bigger pieces. But I'm not limited by, I'm only limited on how big I can go, how small I can go. I am only limited by my own physicality, what I can see, what I can feel, all that. So I can go pretty small. Um, it's the lathe. The lathe dictates how large of a piece you can use. What it can handle, how long. It's blah blah blah, all that stuff. But then it's your practice and your own skills that make the magic happen. I've had quite a few people ask me, "Oh, okay, so when you're doing that, how fast are you turning it?" And I tell them that it doesn't matter. That's not important. What's important is your tool handling skills. I have caught myself, and you'll see it many times on this broadcast, where I'm turning at the lowest speed this lathe will go, and it's not on purpose. It's because I forgot to turn it up. But all I'm doing is working with the lathe and how it's operating. So I just know that I got to slow myself down when I'm feeling how the cut is going. I know, okay, I need to slow down a little bit. That's weird. I'm stopping this piece of timber with my tool, which is very very strange, which happened earlier a couple of times. But the biggest part of that was, well, two big parts. I was cutting a lot of air, but I was turning at the slowest speed possible. So I was stopping the piece while it was between centers with my tool, and I'm like, well, that's weird. If I put it down to at first being maybe this motor doesn't have the same amount of torque as the original. I just replaced this motor. What it turns out is that I was actually turning at 400 RPM, which I do a lot. Not on purpose, most of the time, but it's just to demonstrate. It doesn't matter how fast the lathe is turning. The lathe is, well, most of the time when you turn in air, you do want to have as much speed as you can get in between. Well, that's not the right way to put that. You want to be able to speed the lathe up, right? So I start as close to being on the balance point of a piece as I can possibly get almost every time. It's not always possible, but I do that so that removes as much as the vibration right off the get-go as I can get, because vibration is vibration is the enemy to this. The more it vibrates, the more you're going to have chatter, the harder it is to get good tool control, at least when you're a new turner. After a while, it doesn't, I mean, it matters, but it doesn't matter as much. It becomes more of an annoyance to me when I have lots of vibration than anything else, because I've practiced my ABCs over and over and over. I've turned thousands of hours. Again, because this was my therapy. When I couldn't sleep, I had nightmares, whatever. I wouldn't go to the bottle. I wouldn't go turn on. I don't have a television. I wouldn't have done that anyway. I came out here. I came out here and put tool to wood, and learned. I learned how to deal with the issues that were stopping me from turning. All the things that were in the back of my mind that were moving and going, and I was able to finally reach a focal point with turning that is the focal point. Everything else is still happening in the back of my mind, but it's not at the forefront of my mind, which makes things a whole lot more sane. And I do actually find I can work out a lot of issues that way. This raises up just a touch. But art as therapy, turning as therapy, whatever, it's a unique focal point that, because especially with wood turning, you have to be focused on what's happening right in front of you. Again, 60-mile-an-hour rotational, so however big the mass is how much that's going to hurt when it comes off. More or less, I guess. I don't want this bouncing all over my chest and trying to crawl up into my face. I want this. Safety is very, very important. A lot of those issues are not talked about on YouTube, unless it's a well-known and Turner who knows what the heck they're doing. I don't want to teach people bad habits. I want to help people unlearn bad habits. Alright, so I need to take one more pass here, and then I'm going to take a look at what it looks like, because I do have a huge bark inclusion. I've got a little bit of an island on the outside holding things together, which is right there. I don't know what it's going to look like on the inside, because let's change the cameras again. That bark inclusion goes in pretty far. I'm a little worried about this crack, but again, I don't know that this piece is going to survive. I want to let it dry, and we'll see what happens at the end. Maybe I'll use resin or brass or something like that. But I've got my pour spout here. It's almost the shape that I'd like to see the outside. I'm going to have to change that. But I'll do this twice turn. We'll see what happens after the drying process, and I'll work on it from there. If it splits itself apart, so be it. Maybe I'll make a resin mold of what's left, and maybe half of that pestle will be, or this chunk, if this happens to come off, and put resin in there, or just remove it and make that whole side resin. Who knows? I just want to finish the piece, because it's possible that it will become an actual functional piece. It's also very possible that it will just be a very pretty conversation piece, which is all right with me. Let's see if I can get this curve a little bit better shape here. But I guess the bottom line is I really enjoy turning. And enjoy turning partially because it's my therapy. It's my therapy. It's part of my life. I don't want to give it up. So I'm learning and teaching others. The most efficient, at least what I've found so far. And of course, that will always evolve. The more I learn, the more I'll be able to share. But the most efficient, safest way to use the tools that you have. Tools are spendy for one thing, so I'm always trying to get the most out of them that I can get. Enjoy sharing that kind of information because, well, I don't know a lot of really wealthy, millionaire, billionaire turners. Tools are expensive, and it's not about the latest and greatest tool. It really isn't. It's about your tool control skills, period. What you are able to do with the tools that you have. I think I'm going to grab my negative ray scraper and clean this up a little bit. Here it is right here. Just a little bit like that. Yeah, that'll work. And the rest will send away fine. This is my spout. So now we can hollow this dude out. It's not the latest speed, it's not the lathe you own, it's not the tools you got, although sometimes I guess it is a little bit the tools you got. If you got crappy tools that can't hold an edge and all that kind of stuff, then yeah, it's going to be really frustrating and a lot harder to turn. But the main gig is practice. I'll do a little back hollowing on this guy. Just open it up some. Check that depth. Something like that, so I can go a little deeper. And then right into back hollowing. Take it back down into regular mode and back hollowing again. That should get me almost the depth that I want to be. That'll do. And now I believe my tool rest is a little too, may not be too high. Okay, I think I need to go a little bit deeper with this guy. We're about to find out. Raging Striker Gaming says, time for me to hit the hay. Love you. Love you too, buddy. Hope the rest of your stream goes well. Remember, you're my favorite oldest Fasha. Yes, you are my favorite oldest son. Thank you, sir. I got lucky. I got smart ass kids and intelligent, smart ass kids. So my daughter was the first one to start this. She wanted to be called the favorite. And she would always ask me, but I'm your favorite, right? And so I came up with the idea that I could say, yes, she was my favorite. She was my favorite daughter. And she comes back with, well, I'm your only daughter. And my original answer was, as far as you know. But that's not something you should say to a 9 or 10-year-old. She said, you have other kids? I'm like, okay, no, I don't have other kids, but you are my favorite daughter. And she would always come back with, but I'm your only daughter. And I said, why can you not still be my favorite? Anyway, I went from there. I just knocked my microphone off. Bear with me here. Went from there to my two boys too got into the game. So I have a favorite youngest son, a favorite oldest son, and a favorite daughter. Now, keep in mind, I've only got 3 children, as far as I know. So anyway, that's one of the running jokes in the with the relationship that I have with my kids. I think it's great. So I'm just using a negative rake scraper to scrape the very bottom of the bowl. This is just a twice turned piece, so I'm leaving it a little thick. I think that is about right, but let me grab. How about that guy? Yeah, that one will work. I'm hearing a hum, and I realize it's my grinder that's winding down. Okay, so that is, I'm going to call that 3/4 of an inch, which is what that is. So I'm going to say we have an even wall thickness. I am going to clean up this outer edge, take the sharp edges off. The sharp edges will drive faster than a rounded edge right at the corner, when that's where all your splits and cracks will start to show up, is right on these sharp corners. So I get rid of those. So I don't have to deal with them later. And most of the time, this solves the problem of any kind of edge cracking or anything like that. You just round those edges over, and you don't have such a sharp delineation. So when you're looking at a corner like this, this area right where the corner's at is going to dry a whole lot faster because it doesn't have anything above it. It'll dry just as fast as the outer surface there and just as fast as the outer surface there, but it will come in much more towards the center there. And if that's drying out faster than the rest of the mass, then this is going to want to crack and split and separate and do all that groovy shit. So if you round that corner, then this all dries at an even pace, and all the mass behind it is also even. So the drying process, in theory, works a little bit better with the wood than having a sharp corner. Okay, you know what? This is looking a lot different than I thought it would on the inside. Man, I think I still need to take it down deeper. Just seems like it needs to be a little bit deeper, dude. Let's see. But this bark inclusion, yeah, I'm going to take it in a little bit deeper. This bark inclusion, I'll show it to you when I get it off the lathe. It doesn't go all the way through. So that is really awesome. I also have a daughter that's called me, same daughter, my favorite daughter, who's called me old man since she was like 9. She hit me with that one day, 9 years old. Hey, old man, like, what? What do you mean? You're getting old. You're always going to be getting old. Like, okay, you got a point there. So she always called me old man ever since she was 9. I was wondering when that was going to kick on. Okay, cool. That looks good. So, let's take this guy out. I'm hoping that the microphone is actually drowning out some of that groovy stuff. I knew this was going to be a slightly should I might need to take this foot off, because that's a lot more mass. Hopefully it won't matter. But anyway, if you look in here, the bark inclusion doesn't go all the way through like the cracks here do. So I won't have much to fill in. So If this survives, if this island here doesn't split apart, this island here doesn't split apart, this doesn't open up in the bottom too much anyway, then I think this will wind up to be a usable piece, which is awesome. Let's see if I can take off some of that foot and still leave me a place to grab onto this dude to be able to true it up once it's dry. And then I think I'm doing myself a solid favor, and I'll do that with the other piece. Might get a little interesting with this split, but let's see. Too high. Still too high. Let's try that, dude. Still too high. Jeez. All right. Now it's too low, Dave. There we go. Had to raise the tool rest for my scraper. When you're working with the scraper, where it contacts your material has to be less than 90 degrees. So in most cases, that means that your handle is up from horizontal. And the tool steel is a little bit further down. So it would be like if this was the tool rest, the handle would be up, the tool here would be further down, because you want to contact that burr at less than 90 degrees. There we go, that should do. Let me clean this off. And then I can take care of this guy. And I don't want that to split, so I'll take that sharp edge off and that sharp edge off. Now I can grab that by the chuck later. That's still a little sharp. There we go. Yeah, and I can still grab that by the chuck later. And when this piece is finished, this is pretty much going to be the foot here, this upper ring. So I won't have much material that I'll have to remove from the bottom for it to sit flat. This is the larger pestle. Get rid of some of this foot. And actually, I might even be able to get a little bit better shape on the bottom of it. Oh, nope, it's too late for that now, Dave. It's the inside that matters now. Too late for that now, since I have already created a wall thickness. So let's get rid of this material. I like turning maple. Maple's nice to turn. Let's see, let's clean that off. There's my dovetail for my chuck. And we're all set. That's it. Those are now going into the drying rack to see if they survive. Nice. So I got a little bit of, there's some bark inclusion here. It looks like it's coming in on the inside. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet, but I'll figure that one out. And I got, now this is just general shape. It's not the final shape, but I will, when I turn these again, once they're dry and true them up, I will make the bowl itself the same, the curve down in it the same size as both sides of my pestle. I intend to have a ball and a mutter on one side so I can really grind things up. And then the ball will help me do stuff around this way. Then the mutter will help me like pack it all down and do it again. So, yeah, I'm happy with the shape that these came out in so far. Hopefully this doesn't decide that it needs to come apart. That is a lot of bark inclusion, but there's a lot of good solid material in there and a lot of interlocked grain. So hopefully it'll survive just fine. So I'm going to set these aside really quick. We're looking at, oh, look at that, 10:45. So my timing is pretty good here. So I've got basically 15 minutes left of the broadcast. If there's anything else, any comments, questions, whatever, please feel free. This is live and interactive during the whole thing. The only question I can't answer, well, okay, I can't answer questions that aren't asked. How's that? I've heard people say that, you know, I mean, there's no stupid question. And there really isn't. It's a question, and maybe you know, you didn't have a chance to ask it properly or whatever. I do the same damn thing. There's no stupid questions. Don't feel like you can't ask. You know, how does this work, or why can't I do it that way, or whatever. I'll help you out. There's no, in my mind, there's no secrets in wood turning unless I make up a secret. And I sometimes do for fun, but really, there's no secrets in wood turning. I don't ever want there to be. I think, well, I don't have really any trouble sharing the things that I know. I don't guess I got to cover that up anymore since I'm not going to be throwing wood materials on there. I just dropped the microphone again. Just trying to brush myself off. So anyway, we've got now two completed completed so far pestles. They're ready for, they're drying right now, and once they are dry, I'll do the second turning on them to their final shape. And then so that means tomorrow evening I will probably start off with the mortars, and then I plan on moving into, I'm kind of looking at wood I've got around. I have some ideas of what I want to use, but just trying to see what my options are. So other than that, tomorrow I'm going to do, at least I plan to do a little production turning, some holiday ornaments and stuff like that. Except this time I'm going to do it out of green wood because I want to see what happens when this stuff changes shape. So a lot of hollowing tomorrow with my trusty spindle gouge. A lot of those shapes. So I'm going to make some ornament bodies. I don't know. We might do some finials tomorrow. I don't know. But I do want to do some production turning to get those ornaments turned out for the upcoming holiday season. And I'll be using more maple. And this also came from my friend Joe. So thank you. I cut this up today. That's where I got those two pieces for. Well, no. Sorry, that's wrong. That was also from you, but not where I got the timber for the pestles that I just turned. Where's that piece? I'm looking for a particular piece. Yes, there it is. And I cut this out of the green wood that you gave me. I'm looking forward to turning this dude, man. I might just do. I think I'm going to do a hollow form right into there. I don't know. We'll see. It's got an interesting shape. I know there's all kinds of figure in there. So I'm looking forward to turning this one. That might get turned tomorrow too. We'll see. So I'm going to do some, that's my plan anyway, do some production turning tomorrow. So I hope you'll join me. We'll learn, learn a few tips and tricks. Again, always working on tool control and tool skills. So I'll be teaching those, skew, spindle gouge. I don't now. Well, I will be using a bowl gouge as well, just to rough things out, get the bark off and all that, make everything round. But primarily, I will be using a spindle gouge tomorrow. So we'll go over that in great depth. I hope to see you around for that. There's a lot to it. And actually, there's just a lot to wood turning, period. There's tons of different pieces to this whole diorama, I guess, of wood turning. Some people say there's so many pieces to the puzzle. It all winds up being the same meaning. There's a lot to it, but the only way you get to be a better turner is to practice. So you have to learn the proper skills, but then you have to practice those skills to become better at them. And the more you practice, the better you get. At least in theory. I'm always trying to take classes myself from turners that catch my interest, that are out there, because it's not because I care what they're making. In my case, it's I care how they're doing it. I want to learn how are they using those tools the way they're using them. So I've picked up quite a bit over the years, and which means I've got a lot more to be able to share and put out there in the world to help other turners. So I don't see anything new in chat here. So I'll just go into my quick elevator spiel. My name is Dave. I'm a wood turner. I started this channel as a way to become a better instructor and a better demonstrator. Also a better turner, and by that I mean, I want to help turners of all skill levels become better turners than they are. I really enjoy working with. It doesn't matter what your skill level is. I don't care if you're brand new to it or not. I think sometimes it's more fun when you're new to it, because you don't have things to unlearn. You just have things to learn. Older turners, people get set in their ways. We're human beings. We get set in our ways. And maybe you've done something long enough that you haven't even explored. Is there other way to do it? Is there a more efficient way to do it? A safer way to do it? I don't want to use better. I don't want to use the word better, because is it better? I guess that depends on your perspective. I want it to be more efficient, um, simpler, easier to understand. The mechanics to it can be kind of tricky, depending on the tool, because of the way that you have to move your body. But if you focus on keeping those things in your major muscle groups and not the small ones, then that muscle memory serves you well for a much longer period than it was if you're just trying to turn with your hands. And you don't want to do that because you don't have the control. You just don't. Doesn't matter to me how small the piece is. I'm still using my whole body with whatever that piece is. It does not matter to me. Um, there are some shortcuts I take, but because I have the experience that I can do that. And you can get there too. I can help you get there. You will eventually get there, even on your own. Might be a longer journey, but I can still help you get there. It's all about practice. And the more that and same thing for me, the more I explain these things to people, the more it gets turned over in my mind. Just like Sparky said there in chat, it's the same thing. The more you do it, and the more you talk about it, the more it gets cemented in your own mind. So I'm always working. That's another reason why I started this channel. I want to be the best turner I can be. I'm not trying to be the best turner in the world. There's just too much on the planet to explore to say that I will be the best turner in the world. No, 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 no. And I don't think anybody can be, but I do want to be the best turner I can be. I enjoy it so much that I want it to be easier. I want it to be simpler. I want it to be enjoyable. I want it to be meditative and all these things. This is what I bring into the studio before I even start. These are the things that I want. How do I get there? And those are some very important skills that I also try to teach. How do you get there? How do you get to that point where the focus goes from all the chatter to what's happening right in front of you so that you are now in the moment? You're no longer in the past or in the future or off on a side trip somewhere thinking about what Mary Jo said about so and so and what happened down at the grocery. It doesn't matter. What happens at the grocery store, it no longer matters. What matters is what's happening to you right now when you're in the moment. And that's why I really enjoy teaching this, because I love to see that light come on when it happens for people. They're in the moment and they get that perfect cut. And then, oh my God, they're chasing that perfect cut for a while. That is awesome. That is amazing. So, having started working with lathe and turning as therapy for PTSD myself, I've been through a lot of bumps and a lot of heartache, broken tools, whatnot, broken lathe parts. I almost gave it up. I really did. I'm glad I didn't. I was almost saying, okay, this is not therapy for me. This isn't working. But then once I realized that I was going to the wrong sources, that's when things started changing. So I hope and I work really hard for this channel to be one of those sources that people can go to and go, okay, this I can trust. This is how it works. And they'll see it happen in action. I do all this stuff live. I make my mistakes. Uh, I hate using that word too. I make my design changes. Those things happen. Sometimes a thing will come off, something will come off the lathe. That's happened to me. Sometimes it'll just split apart. That's also happened to me. I've had burls that just fly apart because the center is all mushy and you don't know it until you break through that wall into the center, and all of a sudden it can let loose. I've had things come off the lathe because I didn't have them secured. I've had them break. I've done the whole thing. I've done it too. I'm no stranger to it. So I do my best when I'm teaching to steer people away from that mindset. This is scary. I want you to keep your focus on the fact that yes, this is an inherently dangerous um, thing to undertake. So mind your fingers. Safety protocols, eye protection, hearing protection if you need it, breathing protection if you need it. When you're sanding, you're going to want that. So all these things build up together into whatever it is that your style, your vision, your method of turning, all those things meld together once you're practicing that to make your specific perspective available to the rest of the world. And that's what I try to do with my turning as well. I think it's a wonderful thing. There's room for everybody because everybody has a different perspective. I want to see there could be the next latest greatest turner who's far better than I am, but if I can teach them some of the basics that to shorten that journey, smooth out the bumps that they may be approaching or what have you, then I'm all about it. It doesn't matter to me if they're a better turner or not. I don't care. I think that would be great. I would love to be able to teach somebody who then becomes the world's greatest turner. Well, who wouldn't love that? I think that would be great. It wouldn't make me any less. It doesn't make me less equal. It just means wouldn't be turning as well as that person. So that for me would mean that I would have to practice more because by golly, if that person can do that, then by all rights and measures, as a human being with the same similar body mechanics, I should be able to do those things too. May not be necessarily true. Maybe I have tremors one day, or as I'm getting older. I mean, we're all getting older, so maybe I develop some tremors, and I can't have the accuracy that I really, really want. So I slow things down. I still intend to turn until I cannot work at a lathe anymore, because this is such an amazing outlet. It is such an amazing focal point that I want to pursue it. I just want to pursue it. It's the same way with my beekeeping. It's great therapy, and it opens up doors. And in my own head, it opens up doors, even in my life. And I want to pursue those things. So I want to share them. I want to get them out there in the world. I want more people to be able to experience this or realize that, hey, I can experience this. Life is not necessarily a bowl of cherries or whatever, but it doesn't have to be the worst ever. Why not find yourself, if it's a hobby for you, wood turning or whatever the endeavor, ceramics, whatever, if you find yourself an outlet, that makes so much more difference in the world, because now, instead of spewing out all your stuff, and I'm speaking from my own personal experience, instead of spewing out all my stuff, I can do it all right here. And this is much more appropriate for me to have my OCD and my control issues, let them run rampant, because those control issues they don't force me, but they compel me, I guess, whatever. I ride that wave to get that cut, to get that tool skill down, because that's just how I am. But I can do it here. It's a safe place to do it. And if I'm doing it in a crowd of people who all have different perspectives, and I'm stirring things up, well, then how is that making the world a better place? It's not. But if I focus it all here and I bring out pieces and go, hey, this is what happened. I went in there and my mind was all messed up. But once I got in the zone, everything started to happen. I started listening to the wood. All is better in my own world. But then I brought out this beautiful piece. Check this out. Makes the world a better place. You can do it too. So thanks for joining me. It is Twitch Tuesday. Tomorrow is Woodturning Wednesday. I'll be back again 8 to 11. I do this every week, Tuesday and Wednesday night. I'm kind of thinking I might increase the number of days that I'm online, but I don't know. Right now, it's just Tuesday and Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m., sometimes a little bit later, depends on what the project is and if I want to complete it that evening. Hi, I'm Dave. Thanks for joining me. I hope you stay friendly. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. I hope to see you again on tomorrow evening or another Tuesday, any other week. And don't forget, you can go to my YouTube at Dave Reif, to watch all of the past broadcasts. They are in a library on my YouTube channel. Just subscribe. You'll have access to all of the past broadcasts, including this one, which will show up before the weekend is out. It will show up on YouTube, as well as tomorrow evening's broadcast will also show up on YouTube before the weekend is out. Wiley Kylie Smiley says, good job and good night. Hey, thank you very much. TC Smo says, good job tonight. Cool stuff. I really appreciate that, folks. Thank you very much for supporting the channel and the support that you give to me, both as an individual, but also on this channel. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you all soon. Cannot wait till Mitch gets up here. We're going to have some fun. Yeah, I guess I'm going to call it. That's the end of the broadcast, folks. I appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much. Wood Turning with Dave. Hope to see you tomorrow night or next week. Take care.